Hello, and welcome to Fatlogic Friday. I'm your host, missmullberrifields, and today we will explore more Fatlogic posts from around the web, because sometimes those words typed out just need a voice behind them to understand just how off the logic truly is. Thank you for joining me today, and now on to the posts. Sugar is addictive as... If you wait less, you will be healthier. If you eat what you want, you will only want treat foods. The more you exercise, the healthier you will be. If you eat less, you will lose weight. Okay, alright. Bad grammar aside, what exactly would be the problem here? Oh, that's right. Diet culture lies. Whether this is real or not is really difficult to tell. Though seeing that eating less will eventually lead to weight loss, I would say try again. Diet culture. Wrap your burger in a lettuce leaf to reduce carbs. Reality. That's a handheld salad, and our bodies need carbs. Alright, poor logic aside, I can safely say I've heard of having just a patty to reduce the carbs, just as I have seen people do with burritos and taking off the shell. The creativity that one can show with food is what makes dieting even easier. Interesting even. For myself, I would prefer to cut the burger up and put it in the salad as a protein. Counting calories does not have to be boring. Of course, I would be remiss to not point out that fries are also a carb, and they're also seen on the dieter's plate. Food in moderation is fine, so in the end, as long as you're watching what you eat throughout the day, either plate might work for you. If eating normally and eating enough leads to weight gain, you needed to gain weight. If eating normally was truly a standard, and that standard caused you to gain weight, then I would have to first know what your idea of eating normally really means. Are you eating until you're satisfied or overfilled? Myth Monday. Myth. We have to teach our kids about healthy eating so that they learn how to eat right. Reality. Nutrition is complex, abstract, and nuanced topic that should not be made concrete for kids. That can only lead to a disordered relationship to food. We do not have to teach our kids about nutrition. No, that definitely is something that should be taught. We learn many complex and interesting topics because what we learn over time builds and shapes us into better people. Not learning good nutrition today can and oftentimes will lead us to bad habits down the line. I want to say something about how your body has done its best, but that implies fatness is some kind of price to pay for survival. It's not a cost or a penalty, it's just a part of what being alive means to you. What I mean is, if you're fat, being fat is how you're alive, and you being alive is good. It's the way living the way you wanted to live has manifested in your corporeal form. It's the evidence of your ancestors and your genetics and your preferences and your struggle and your habits and your pleasure and of being alive. And I do not mean that negatively. For you, that is the fruit of your labor. That is the evidence of your continued ability to live. It's a beautiful thing. You haven't survived despite fatness. Your fatness is an essential part of your survival. It's part of how you got to where you are, and it's good, actually. Even if your weight gain isn't from an illness or depression, as weight gain can be, the fatness is not an illness or a depression. The fatness is the survival. It's the you that has made it this far. It's powerful and it's lovely. And even if it's from nothing but loving eating... The post cuts off there, but do you really want to hear more? I didn't think so. I've seen the arguments that complimenting weight loss for some can be insulting because it's not always intentional or might have been brought on by sickness or depression, but then those are double standards for ya. Y'all ever try to breathe quieter while walking up a hill so bystanders don't hear you fighting for your life? Up a hill? That's so cute. I can't even take a phone call within 20 minutes of going to my car for something or there's questions. Me returning to my desk after walking on my break. Absolutely. This is actually a lot more sad than anything. One of the things I miss the most about some of my jobs is walking on my breaks. The views were nice and it was a great way to get away from my desk. Plug in some music and forget about whatever stresses there were for the time. I can definitely say there weren't enough people taking advantage of the downtime, and I find it more of a shame than anything, really. Weight loss happens in the kitchen, not the gym. I say this as someone who struggled with her weight her whole life. My highest weight was 302 pounds, but now I'm 140. Calorie restrictions work. Sorry to those that it upsets, but it does. I just walked 3 miles a day, 5 days a week, with light weight training. Calorie restriction does not work. Calorie restriction leads to yo-yo weight, heart disease, and irreparable digestive issues. Keep your bogus advice to yourself. Calorie restriction is horrible advice. Actually, I don't think anyone is talking about extreme calorie restriction, but a reduction in the calories from the calories you need to maintain your weight in a safe range is viable. I don't think she meant what you mean. By calorie restriction, she meant a slight calorie deficit, not starving yourself. Most sensible advice for losing weight. I don't know why so many people think a calorie restriction means something like eating fewer than 1,200 calories a day. It's most certainly not. Cutting calories is not the same as starving. Finding foods you can have in moderation and still enjoy is a good start. Too much of anything is not a great thing after all. Fatmisia, also called fatphobia or sizeism, is a prejudice plus power. Anyone of any weight or body type can have/exhibit size-based prejudice, but in North America and across the globe, thin people have the institutional power. Therefore, fatmisia is systematized discrimination or antagonism directed against fat bodies/people based on the belief that thinness is superior. Fatmisia stems from 3 incorrect cultural assumptions. There is, with minimal physical divergence, a right or normal body type, and it is a thin one. There is an automatic correlation between thinness and physical health, and in turn that health is an indicator of value. Fatness or a fat body is abnormal and therefore a social disadvantage and or a health risk. I learned a new word that I didn't think existed until I looked it up. It's definitely not one for the word bank. Also, from what I get, it's fatmisia. I thought fatmesia would have sounded better, but yeah. That will be all the Fatlogic for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what you heard here today, then please feel free to subscribe as more will be on the way. Remember to be kind to someone today, even if that someone is you. And for your entertainment, I'll leave you with this outtake because reading isn't always easy. Goodbye! Thin people have the institutional power. Therefore, fatmisia is a systematized